Oh, yay.
You
We
got
are
it.
now live. We are recording. And I'm going to apologize right now because I was late
It's
and
okay.
we have limited time. But my name is Shereen and I own GumBits, and I like to reach out and meet interesting people that use GumBits. So,
Yeah.
someone told me you did. Someone put a bug in my ear and tell me that you did. And I want to say, I'm not sure, but you did go to the Olympics in
I did.
Tokyo.
Yes.
And what was that? 2021?
Yeah.
2021. So I want to tell you that you are my very, very first Olympian in my chapter of stories. So,
well, I feel honored.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. So I'm going to introduce you, and I don't know if I can say your last name right. Beatrice de, help me out,
Lavalette. You said it right, Lavalette.
But everyone calls you B, right?
Yes. B or Bea, whichever.
I'm so excited to meet you, and you're my first Olympian, and you also went to the this year's World Equestrian Games.
Yeah, the World Championships, yeah.
World Championships.
Yeah.
And got your first international, not your first medal, your first international medal. And you got what?
The team got third. So we got bronze.
Bronze medal. That's a big deal.
It was my first big championship medal.
You do dressage, and I said that it wasn't your first medal. Do you remember your first medal?
In the States? Or when I was a kid?
In your life. How about that?
Life, I've had medals before.
You've had medals before.
When I was very, very young.
First medal.
Oh, my first medal.
I'm testing you.
And internationally? I don't know.
Let me look at my notes. Yes, I think your first medal was gold.
I don't know. I've never gotten a medal before. Not internationally.
Well, maybe not internationally. But when you were a little girl, tell everybody what you did.
Oh, I played, so first I did like little pony games, where like kids do little jumps and like have to steer a horse with a carrot in front of them, like the little kid games. So I did really well at those. I was on Shetlands. I was like 4 or 5 years old. And then from the age of 7 to 11, I played horseball.
Exactly. Because I cheated, because I read your website. And I'm going to tell people where they can go to read your website. But your first gold medal was track and field.
That is true. That is very true. That is very true. I was not thinking all sports. I was just thinking horses.
I know. You were like focused. And the thing about me is I try to find something that nobody knows about. And so I thought, well, two things I thought was really cool about you was that you did track and field, that you grew up in Paris.
Yep.
But you're a U.S. citizen, correct?
Yes. I'm a dual citizen with France in America.
So how did you grow up in Paris? Because you just have to know this about me. My daughter knows that I always wanted to go to Paris as an adult. And so I turned 60 about a month ago. And so my daughter was so sweet because she was like, because I was pouting, like, oh my God, what am I going to do for my birthday? Because all we ever do is go to horse shows. So she says to me, Kat, she says, Mom, we're going to go to Paris for your birthday. Thought, oh my God, that is awesome. Because she came up with her own idea and she speaks French. And I told her that I was interviewing you today and she was so jealous. So I am going to come and meet you because I want you to get her to speak French because she's been taking French for, oh my God, like 6 years. And CWD sponsors her. He speaks French. Everybody speaks French, but she refuses to speak French. So are you fluent in French? And how long did you live in Paris?
I was born and raised in the suburbs of Paris. I lived literally like 100 feet from Versailles, from the town of Versailles. And I'm the youngest of 3. I have 2 older brothers that are 8 and 5 years older than I am. My oldest brother was born here in the States, and then my middle brother and I were both born in France. And we all grew up in the French system, school system, and none of us did well in the French school system. I mean, it's very hard.
Now, did you learn French before you learned English?
So what my parents did, which was very smart, in Europe, you can go to school starting at like 2 or 3. There are multiple like kindergarten levels. And so what my parents did is they spoke to us in English at home and we learned French at school. So we learned both languages at the same time.
That's gotta be hard. Was that harder? I guess if you don't know any different, right?
Yeah, we didn't know any different. So for us, it came naturally, which was really nice because I don't have an accent when I speak English.
And so when you came home, did you like speak some French, some English with your parents?
Yeah.
Or yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I did a lot of what we call franglais, French English.
Okay, now the accent's coming out. I like
it. Well, it very often it happened that we started a conversation or a sentence in French or in or English and finished it in the other language.
That's really
just because
fantastic.
Sometimes you don't remember the word or the rest of the sentence in that language, so you just finish it in the other language.
And how many years did you live in France, Paris?
In Paris, well, just outside Paris, I lived for 14 years.
14 years.
Yeah.
And then you came here to the States. Now, I think I read, did you go to school in San Diego or?
I did, but actually before I came to the States, I lived in Belgium for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're also, Belgium is the center of Europe. So they speak multiple languages.
Everything, right? Because there's
speak
not
everything.
a Belgium language.
There isn't. There is no set Belgium language. It's French, Flemish, Dutch, German. I mean, everything.
My husband, we used to go to Europe a lot, and we always went around Thanksgiving because he's a workaholic and he doesn't ever take time off, but he'll take off between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh.
And so when back in the old days, when they didn't have navigation, and you went to Europe to look for horses, dressage horses, oh my God. You know, you go from barn to barn and they know, oh my God, the Americans are coming. The Americans are coming, right? So, of course, the prices go up.
Yeah.
So we have limited time and it's always like, oh, maybe we should go to the next barn. Maybe we should go to the next barn. And we ended up in a barn in Belgium. Oh my God. I think it was like 2:00 in the morning. It's like you're always chasing to look for that perfect horse, right?
Yeah. I totally get it.
So we did that. It's kind of a funny story. And I know we have limited time. But I love the background that you have, and you grew up in Europe and you now speak another language, and now you're here in the States. Now, do you live in Orlando or?
No, I live in right outside of Wellington.
Oh, now why did I think you were in Orlando or Ocala? Were you ever in Orlando or Ocala?
Nope.
Okay. You're in Wellington.
Yeah.
So for certain, I'm going to meet you because we're there all the time. And so when you were a little girl, again, you talked about pony ball. Like, does
Horseball.
anyone here even do pony ball? I never heard of it.
It's they actually called
Is
it
it like
horseball.
polo or
No, it's. Have you watched the Harry Potter movies?
No, but Cat has.
Okay, it's basically like Quidditch.
Okay, so for us old people,
You can either describe it as basketball on horses or Quidditch, where you have to pass the ball 3 times and then throw it into a hoop, into a ring hoop, and when the ball falls on the ground, you don't actually get off the horse. You lean over. You have what they call a song de ramassage, a picking up girth, basically. It's like a leather strap that you attach under the horse between the 2 stirrups, and when you go down, it actually locks you in place. So you go down, but your legs don't come out because there's that band, basically, leather band that holds you onto the horse.
and so you go down and you scoop it up with your hand,
and you come back up.
Okay, so it's not like lacrosse or anything where you're like throwing it and you have the
No, there's no sticks. It's you literally go down. You're almost under the horse sometimes.
Now, how many people on a team? Because this is kind of interesting.
On the field, 4 people.
Okay.
But you can have up to like.
They're all like pretty much little kids, right? And everyone's on a pony.
Yeah.
Are they like running into each other or?
So it's not like football where it's head against head. So there are strict rules to protect the riders and the horses. You can't go head to head against someone. You have to go side to side, going in the same direction. So what you can do is also steal the ball from the person. And if you grab the ball and hold it and pull, you can, after 10 seconds, the referee blows the whistle, and you get the ball. But what you can also do is literally just grab it and yank it out of their hands. And just go off with your team, do the 3 passes, and throw it into the hoop.
And so, like, boys and girls, right? So
absolutely, it's mixed teams.
Okay.
You have boys teams, you have girls teams, men's, women's, mixed, all of them, all of it.
I think, is it true that in the Olympics that the only teams that are co-ed is horses?
Yep, that is very true.
So how funny that you started out and with what do you call the sport again? The
horseball.
I hope you have some photos that you can share.
I absolutely have some photos.
Okay. And then I wonder if you have any video, because that would be kind of fun too.
Of me?
It's just so interesting.
I mean, the thing is, when I played horseball, iPhones didn't exist. Like phones didn't have proper.
Well, you're
cameras.
not that old, first of all.
I know, but I'm that generation where phones exist.
How old are you?
I'm turning 24.
24. Okay. Yeah. Yes. And this horseball, does anyone in the States do it? Have you seen it?
I know that a couple people do it, but it's not very famous, which is surprising because it's in Europe. It's very famous.
And so they're still doing it now, right?
Yeah. They do world championships and European championships and everything.
I think we're on to something. I think that. What do you think? You think?
I would
start it. I think that you should. How cool would that be? Especially considering you live in Wellington.
Yeah, the world of horses.
Right. Now, do you think the polo ponies could do it, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. I gave you a great
idea. Polo ponies are sturdy. Polo ponies are very sturdy, and they're used to running into each other.
Well, I think I gave you a great entrepreneurial idea.
Oh yeah, I would love to get the sport out here. That's actually why they called it horseball, is to get it to come to the States and make it even more famous. But somehow it didn't pick up, which is so surprising because it is so much fun. And it gives you the best seat. I mean, I now being paralyzed, I still have a great seat because the muscle memory of the seat that I have before my accident is still there. And when my horses go kind of crazy and start bucking and everything, I can like sit down.
And you just sit. You sit deep in the saddle, right? Yeah. And you can really maneuver. I rode last night. My daughter rode a horse. And I'm always trying to ride lightly. So I'm always taking my legs off or not trying to pull in the front so that the horse feels lighter for her. Because otherwise you just get into a tug of war, right?
Yeah. I have a horse like that.
Trying to tell her, you gotta like sit and the horse will move off your seat.
Yeah.
Right?
Can I ask, how old is your daughter?
Kat is 15.
Oh, okay. She's young. She still has time to. I mean, there's always time to learn. But she's, it's.
That's my daughter right there.
I was wondering who that was. That's a beautiful picture.
That's Kat, and Sidelines was so nice, and they put her on the cover.
Wow.
And she's been riding since she was like 1.
Same with me. I've been my first horse show.
Your mother rode, right?
Mom rode. Dad rode a little bit when he was young, but he had the same rules that he then passed on to us. Was if you don't have the grades, you don't ride. And my dad's
are they
dyslexic.
both Americans?
Yeah, my dad's half French though, as well.
Okay. And did they meet here in the States and then go? Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of business? Some kind of international business that they move, or military or something?
No. My dad, when they first moved back to Europe, when my brother was like 6 months old, my dad worked in the hotel business.
Okay.
He was a hotel manager, a very good one too. But after a couple years, there was an incident with my brother.
Family does that.
And he decided it was time to change something up. So he became an English professor.
Cool.
For private companies. So he would go and teach either young students or older students that needed English for international business. So he did that and he loved it. He loved his job.
Well, that is good. Now, and how about your mom? Did she work over there? Well,
yeah, she worked for a electrical company, not like AT&T or something like that, like big electric, like the big power plants, electric power plants and stuff like that. AC, DC, voltage. I mean, the whole thing that I do not understand, but she totally got it. Very technical
stuff. I'm not a technical person. Did your parents ride in the U.S.?
Mom did, yeah.
Did she do hunters or dressage?
She did jumping.
She jumped. Okay.
She jumped, yeah. She jumped until she was 41. And then after she had me, she decided it might be time to. She's got 3 kids. She can't get hurt. So she decided to switch to dressage, which was a little bit safer.
And how about your dad? Did he jump or what did he?
No, Dad, well, he didn't get to ride as much as Mom did because his grades weren't good enough in school. But he wanted to play polo. That's what he wanted to do. Because there's a polo club in the center of Paris, which is called the Polo Club. And that's what he wanted to do. But grades weren't good enough, so he rode occasionally, and he's a naturally very good rider. Like, he used to get on my mom's horse and just go off and ride, and my mom was like, that's not fair.
That my husband's like that. It's irritating. I
can totally imagine it's very irritating.
So you had a little taste of the dressage. Of course, you did the horseball. And so that gave you a lot of really good balance, especially if you have to like lean over to pick up the ball.
And I had to learn to ride my horse with my legs, because when you're playing horseball, you barely touch your reins. You control the horse with your weights and with your legs, because you got the ball in your hands, so you're passing back and forth. What we do is we tie a knot on the reins, so it's easier to grab if you need to grab the horse. But most of the time you're not actually touching the reins, so you ride completely with your legs, which gives you a great seat and great reflexes when it comes to riding.
Well, it's just interesting how everything kind of came about, and now you do the dressage. And I think it's just really cool. It's so cool. And so where do you get your horse? And does the horse go off of different aids, or is it the same age, generally speaking?
So we train our horses with the same aids. So like for walking we cluck, for trot we have a different noise, and for canter we kiss.
I like that.
So it's a but they get used to it, and so you train them. So I don't use my legs at all. So I have two whips that are my legs basically. So when you train them, you kiss, you tap them very lightly to say go forward, and you do it again and again and again. And they learn it, and once they got it, once they have it memorized, you don't even have to touch them with the whip anymore. They just hear the noise and they go.
And so you have the test, and you do half passes, yes?
So in my tests, I do walking leg yields.
Okay.
Which are so much harder than trotting leg yields.
They are hard.
Yeah.
Everything you do at the walk is hard, because it's trying to get the horse to move forward is kind of hard. It's easier to trot.
Yeah.
Well, that is really cool. And
I do like half passes and shoulder ins and all that stuff on the side, and trotting.
I read somewhere, and the canter too, right? You canter? Okay.
I can canter as well, yeah.
And I read somewhere, it was a judge was making comics about judging the Paralympics, and they're not nice. I mean, sorry, judges, I didn't mean to say you're not nice. Can I delete that? When I say they're not nice, I mean
they're very strict.
It's very competitive, right?
Yeah.
Like extremely competitive. So it's not like they're giving you any brownie points for anything.
No,
right?
They're very strict on since like para is not easier, it's just in comparison to what like regular able-bodied riders, it looks a lot easier. But when you have a disability, there are different tests for each level of disability. And I'm a grade 2, which is just walk and trot. And so the judges will judge you based upon your level, but they won't based upon your level of disability, but they won't judge you on your disability. Right. They only judge the horse.
Okay.
So you can have riders like Peppo Puch, who rides for what is it called? Vienna. I'm having a total blank.
You're only having a blank because you're on camera. That's all. But speaking about these other riders, have you made a lot of really good friends?
Yes, I have.
Is that so cool?
Yeah, it is. It's really cool.
I mean, especially now where everybody can just do this Zoom thing, and get on the phone and talk.
And it's also really nice. Like when you get to come to I went internationally to do international competitions this year before the championships,
So where all did you go?
I spent a month in Europe. I stayed in Belgium, at my good friend's barn, where she stays. Her name is Barbara Minichi, and she rides for Belgium. She's a grade 3, and her barn welcomed us with open arms, and they were great. And we trucked over to France in Deauville, competed there, and then came back to Belgium for 2 weeks, and then competed in Belgium at another international competition, and then came back to the barn for 2 days, and then flew home.
Well, I mean, it's like regular competition.
It's like regular competition, but you get to see all of your friends that you don't get to see normally.
What is your horse's name? Before I forget to ask.
So the horse that I took to Tokyo, his name is Clark.
Clark, okay.
Yeah. And then the horse that I took to the championships, his name is 6 Sense, but we call him Sensei.
I like that.
Because I came up with that because 6 Sense, and he's kind of a schoolmaster, because he's 12 and he knows a lot of stuff. So I was like,
12 is still feisty. It's very dangerous to me.
He can be very feisty if he wants, but he's such a sweetheart, he won't be. But I went with Sensei because he's kind of like schoolmaster, like.
Yeah.
That
is so cool. Well, how did you hear about the GumBits, or were you aware of GumBits?
I before I moved to the States, I had never seen or heard of GumBits. But when I went to my first competition in San Diego, my trainer Shayna had some.
And how long ago was that?
Oh God, that was 4 years ago.
Oh, that is so cool.
And we tried. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Does it help?
Yeah, it helps.
You feel it in your hands, the softness, the suppleness.
Yeah, and it helps also with the foaming and everything. And it does help with the suppleness. They're a little bit softer in the mouth, and for me that's very helpful because it's nice to have a soft mouth.
So they're not tugging on you.
They're not tugging as much. Yeah,
they're trying to pull you out of your seat, right?
Yeah. Well, Clark has a tendency of doing that. But that's just because he likes to do it and he knows he can. But all my horses are really sweet. They're all really good boys. And
I'm keeping my eye on the clock because is that your mom behind you?
No, that was Shayna.
Shayna.
My trainer.
Oh, okay, Shayna. I am really, really sorry. I am distracting you guys because are you going to go ride? And how often do you ride?
I ride about 4 times a week.
A lot.
Approximately. Yeah, I ride every week.
My God. This thing keeps hitting upgrade. Hold on. I upgraded last week. Anyways, I think it's a way to get me to shut up. But so you ride 4 times a week.
Yep.
And where do you keep your horse in Wellington?
So
you have 2 horses. You have 2 horses?
I have 3.
You have 3 horses. Do you ride all 3?
Yeah.
4 times. Wow.
So it depends on what we're doing with them training wise. Sometimes, like Sensei right now, after the championships, Shayna's riding him only, just to get him back into the rhythm and getting him back to kind of doing what he's used to doing. And then, sorry. And then I'll get back on, and then I'll keep working on what I have to do. And then I have my 3rd horse, Sky, who's actually my youngest horse, and I've had him for 3 years. I've had him since he was 6.
And you rode him when he was 6?
Yeah.
Like nobody rides 6-year-olds. I know.
He's a big boy. He's now 17 too. He's a big boy.
Wow.
He's a big mover. He's German, so he's tough. But he's in the stall. He's so cuddly. He just wants all the love.
And they all love the GumBits. They all eat the GumBits. Yeah. That is so cool. I'm so excited.
Yeah. No, they all love like sugary stuff. So
Well, I was at USCF's office. I mean, we were going to try to have this call back in, I want to say July.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And I was at USCF and I was so excited because I talked about you and said that I was going to talk. And my friend there was like, oh, well, it's probably better that you're writing anyways, because maybe she'll have a medal. And there you go.
There you go.
You have a bronze medal. Now, I know you're in a big hurry and I got to let you go. And I think maybe I should interview everybody a year later because I have a lot of fun doing these interviews. So you are qualified for another team? Is that what I read somewhere? The U.S.?
So the U.S. team itself is qualified for the Paralympics.
Now, how cool is that? When is that going to be?
In 2 years, actually. In Paris, which I'm so excited about because the dressage.
Well, does that mean you're in it, or you personally have to qualify too?
I have to qualify as well. Okay, it's just the Team USA for the para dressage is qualified, and then we all have to requalify.
Well, we're gonna be rooting for you because how cool is that?
I am going.
You were born there, right?
Yeah.
So you were there. You were born there, and you're going. And so Michelle Gibson trains my daughter, and she's been a good friend of ours forever and ever. And so it was really cool when she got to show in the '96 Olympics in Atlanta. You know, because she's from Atlanta. So
I mean, I'm so excited about the Paris Games because where they're doing the dressage is in the Parc de Versailles, where the chateau is, but in the park. I grew up literally 5 minutes from there.
Oh my God, this is
from
gonna
the
be
age
great.
of like 5 years old to 14.
This is gonna be great.
I have to go.
I have to figure out how to do Zoom from my phone. So
I can show you. Okay. I can FaceTime you and show you.
We'll do Zoom from the phone, and then you can like go around, and we'll be in all the high security areas by your phone. So I really appreciate your time. I have another question. When I called you to tell you I was going to be late, you mentioned that you had a client. Do you have a client? Like, are you training people or what is
So when I say we have a client, because Shayna and I have a business together called Equiday Dressage Stables, which is what we've named our barn here in Loxahatchee. And you can look us up online, and the address and everything is there. So Shayna's the trainer, but we have para riders as well that come in to try horses, and it also helps for Shayna because it's more clients for her as well. But it also
how big is the barn? How many stalls?
We have 15 stalls.
Wow. So you guys buy and train the dressage horses specific for the Paralympics?
Not only Paralympics, Shayna also trains able-body riders. So we have both able-body and para athletes here at the barn that have their horses here year long. So it's really nice because we get to see kind of both of the worlds of dressage. And Shayna's a Grand Prix rider, so she's been up there. She used to compete against Stephen Peters.
Is she from California?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's from California. She's originally from Sacramento. She's, excuse my language, but she's a badass.
I know. How did you get hooked up with her?
So I was supposed to, when I moved to the States when I was 18, I knew that I was going to bring my horse Dee Dee, but I knew that I needed a trainer because at that point I had already decided that I was going to do the Paralympics in Tokyo. I was like, I'm going.
Olympics. I don't really care.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just like I'm always careful with
do you have your medal? I should have told you to show us your bronze medal. Do you have it? Is it around?
It should be around.
Goodness, we need to see it.
I'm just moving the computer a little bit just to see if it's here. It should be here.
Oh, but I do see your hat, your USCF hat on the wall
Oh,
behind
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it,
And then
I mean, are you just like, just so proud you got to ride for America?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's an honor to ride for the States and a pleasure, honestly. There's so much support from the USOPC and USEF, and it's just it's a blessing, really.
Like I said, you're my first Olympian on my program, and
I'm very proud.
I am
And
very
honored.
proud to get to meet you and for your time. And
Absolutely.
we're gonna have
Whenever.
to do this again. And for sure, I'm gonna meet you in Wellington because we
Absolutely.
come out there a lot. But
Yeah, whenever you're here, come over, come see the farm. That would be great.
I think we're onto something though. We need to do this horse ball.
Absolutely. I'll be a trainer. Even if I don't have to be on the horse, I will be on training.
Well, we'll get Kat. She can be a guinea pig because I didn't start riding until I was much older, so I'm kind of a chicken.
That's okay.
We should do that. And I know a lot of people there. Well, you probably know a lot of people there too, but maybe we could put together a little team. That would be kind of cool.
That would be so fun.
We gotta follow up on this idea.
Yes, absolutely.
And I need you to send me some photos.
I will send you some photos.
I'm gonna finish putting this whole program together, and maybe I'm gonna have to Google and try to find some video. But if you have any, please send them to me.
Yeah.
And I will talk to you soon. You've been so nice. And
you've been adorable. I love it.
I have always run around with my head cut off. I can't wait to meet you. Thank you.
Of course. And tell Kat I say bonjour.
Oh, bonjour. Bonjour. Okay. Yeah. I will do that. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.